All right, here we go. Money B from Digital Underground. Welcome to Vlad TV.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, we've known each other for a long time, but this is our first
Yeah.
Vlad TV interview.
It's first Vlad spot.
That's right. That's
Long
right,
time.
man. Well, congratulations on everything you've accomplished, all the hit songs, the impact of the culture, everything else like that, man.
Appreciate it.
So-
Ghost Ride Your Whip. You know how we do.
Yeah, man. Ghost Ride the Whip, right? We did the Ghost Ride the Whip interview.
That's right.
My first documentary. That's how I got in the film game.
I started you. No,
Yes,
it's
sir. Yes, sir. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Money B. So, how did you initially join Digital Underground?
The way I got into Digital Underground was actually, Shock didn't want me. Honestly, a lot of people think like we were best friends, that we grew up with each other, but we didn't. Shock G is a few years older than me, and back in like around 88, me and DJ Fuze, we were a group called Raw Fusion, along with Mac Moan. And
Wait, Mac Moan was in Raw Fusion?
Mac Moan, M-O-N-E.
Mac Moan. Okay, yeah. 'Cause I remember I bought the Raw Fusion
Yeah,
album.
Mac Moan. So back then, we were basically performing at talent shows and just anything that we could do. But at the time, Fuse was like the hottest DJ in the Bay Area. Pretty much anywhere that I could think of, he was buzzing. So Fuse was messing with this chick who also knew Chopmaster J, who was in Digital Underground. They had a single called Underwater Rhymes that they were promoting or whatever, and they would be doing shows almost like the same circuit as us. And they needed a DJ. So basically, they went out and tried to recruit Fuse. Now at the time, Fuse was he was staying in my mom's crib. He was renting an apartment in a room in my mom's apartment. So the meeting took place at our house. And when they came to meet, I met them. I thought they was funny looking. Shock had on beret and tassels on his Pumas and crazy shit. But and my mom was like, "Who is these old people in the house?" She thought I was making some kind of dope deal or something. But Fuse basically was like, "I'll fuck with y'all, but you gotta fuck with Money B. We a group and we come together." That's why to this day I always love Fuse, because he was the reason that I was in the group, because he's like, the only way I fuck with y'all is if y'all fuck with Money B. Because originally Shock is from New York by way of Tampa, Florida. He's from New York, but he went to high school in Tampa. He kind of grew up there. So he didn't like West Coast rap at all, pretty much. And he said I sounded like Too Short, which I didn't, but just because I had the, Oakland slang and talk like I talked at the time, he just grouped us all. Like, oh, he sounds too much like Too Short. So, and I really wasn't a fan of his rapping anyway. So, so it was just kind of one of those things where that's how we started the working relationship, and it grew from there. So that's how it started.
Okay, so Digital Underground is really Shock G's group, right? He's the one that had...
Yeah, he's the brainchild.
Yeah, and he's the one that signed the deal with the label and everything
Tommy
else
Boy.
like that, with Tommy Boy, right? And he kind of formed the group around him. Sex Packers was the first album.
Yes.
I remember that album came out, I was living in the Bay, and it just made a huge impact. Do What You Like was the first single?
Do What You Like was the first single from the album. And actually, Do What You Like was the single before the album. And I was going to allude to that, just adding on to the story, is because we did a single deal. And the deal was with Tommy Boy, I think if we had to sell a certain amount of singles, if we did like 50,000 or something like that, then we were able to do the album. So obviously Do What You Like it was a success. And it was really huge in Europe. Like we toured Europe way before we were even known out here. But the thing about that is, when you listen to Do What You Like, that's why I'm barely on the song, because I really wasn't feeling it at the time. I thought the drums were kind of weak, and and Shock was just like, man, just do this and do that. And I did only what he asked me to do, as opposed to adding to it and kind of really getting involved with it. So that was our first single.
Okay, and that one did well.
Right.
But
Enough to do the album.
and the album came out, right?
Right.
And then the Humpty Dance came out, and that just went through the fucking roof.
Yeah, out of here.
And what I didn't know until recently, when I started researching, for this interview, was that right around the time of that album coming out was the big San Francisco earthquake.
Right.
In 89?
89
earthquake. I remember
October
I worked.
89.
Yeah, like that earthquake was, it was essentially the biggest earthquake in America of the last 100 years or something.
It's crazy.
I remember in the Bay, like the bridge collapsed. I didn't know where my parents were. All the windows were smashed. It was fucked up. Cypress Freeway collapsed, killing a bunch of people.
We were in San Francisco.
Yeah. And I guess the dance was based on the earthquake?
It was. Funny story. So the earthquake happened. We were actually in San Francisco when it happened. So when the bridge collapsed and everything happened, the phones were out all around in the city. So we were trying to call back to Oakland to let our people know that we were okay. It was just crazy. The way we had to get home was like across the Golden Gate Bridge, which you have to drive up through Marin, and the power was out through the city. It looked like some apocalypse, like a war-torn city. It was fucked up.
Yeah.
But the crazy part about it was we were supposed to shoot the video for the Humpty Dance like 2 weeks later, and we didn't know how people were going to get there because all the bridges were down, and the only way you can get to San Francisco from Oakland, you had to take a ferry, or you had to go to the San Mateo Bridge or the Golden Gate Bridge. And we didn't think anybody was going to come. But what's crazy about that is, even 2 weeks before we did the video, we had the song, but we really didn't have the dance.
So the Humpty Dance was created without an actual dance?
Yeah, it was a song first. And actually, it was like one of the last songs that we recorded for the album because a song couldn't get cleared that we wanted, couldn't make the album. That's why Humpty Dance and Freaks of the Industry was the last 2 songs we recorded.
Huh.
Like, had
the 2 biggest songs.
Had the original song that we wanted got cleared, we would have never made those songs.
Okay.
So, right before it was time to do the video, Shock comes over to the crib and he's like, "Man, I need to, we got to make a dance," And he's like, and Shock's not really a huge dancer, but my brother Cullen and Mac Moan, who I mentioned from, we were dancers. And I just remember they were in my living room and they were kind of like, "Well, what are we gonna do?" And they was kind of rocking with it. And Shock was just like, like it's an earthquake. Remember the earthquake? Because we were talking about nobody's gonna come because of the earthquake. That was the story. And he was like, "Yeah, it can kind of be like an earthquake, kind of like dance or whatever." And my brother Cullen and Mac Moan helped Shock kind of fine tune and develop it into what it became. Okay. But it was definitely inspired by what was going on at the time, which was the 89 earthquake.
Okay, can you do the Humpty Dance in the chair there?
You just like you're trying to get your footing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that was huge. I remember in high school, everyone was doing the Humpty Dance. Like in the school dances and everything, that song would come on.
Yeah, it was out of control.
It was out of control. And this was kind of, back then it was sort of like the dance era of hip hop. MC Hammer was big with the dancing. You would see dancing in all the hip hop videos. Like,
yeah, everybody was dancing.
Everybody was dancing.
Like if you really look at the Humpty Dance, you can see Tupac and his crew in the video dancing, like with the baggy pants, and Tupac had like a Gumby haircut with the blonde stripes in it, whatever. And Saphir was in it.
Saphir was in it.
And Saphir had a big, tall, flat top that was blonde.
High top, yeah.
Yeah, so everybody was doing it.